Okay, thank you. And hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to Rethink, Reimagine, Reinvent, and Disrupt. So, my name is Dr. Christian Stone, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors at the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the board champion for the NOVA Committee, our SME arm at the Chamber. So let me first start by thanking the hard-working members of the NOVA Committee, and in particular, Mark Passad and Anna Chamley for facilitating today's session. Mark and Anna have been the engine behind arranging this event, as well as the popular Lunch and Learn series, and their efforts certainly deserve recognition. So thank you to you both. And I also wish to extend my thanks to the internal Chamber IT team for their work behind the scenes and for ensuring today's event goes smoothly, and of course, the wider team at the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this timely session. So just in terms of some housekeeping, today's session will follow the format of a presentation by our feature speaker, which will then be followed by a question and answer period. You're free to ask your questions throughout by using the chat box at any time, and they will be answered following the presentation. So today I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Dr. Indira Couch, the CEO of Action Edge TT and certified business coach at Action Coach Business Coaching, the #1 executive coaching team in the world. During these times, SMEs in particular have been hardest hit, and now more than ever, understanding the tools to unlock optimal performance is vital to business survival. Right now, all businesses are faced with new and existing issues surrounding time management, getting the best from their teams, and of course, profitability and cash flow. Today, we will not only get insight in how to survive these times, but also, finding out what is a high performance mindset that we need to have. What areas should you focus your business on to win? How to pivot and reimagine your business. And of course, of interest to all, I'm sure, how to generate more profits. Luckily for us, Dr. Couch is a rare breed that is both an academic and practitioner, having acquired her PhD in development planning from the University of London, while bringing over 25 years of local and international, multi-industry, and cross-functional practical business experience. She's a seasoned entrepreneur, having built and sold companies and guiding over 300 businesses to success as the globally ranked #1 master engage and grow coach, #1 in the world. When I was speaking to Mark yesterday about the event, he mentioned that when it was first being planned, a target was set at about 40 participants, and this quickly filled up. So they made the decision to pretty much double it. And that quickly filled up as well. So I am, as far as I'm led to believe, there's still people on the waiting list. And from what I heard earlier, even in the waiting room. And I think this is a testament to both how important these types of sessions are and the value that Dr. Couch has brought to organizations. So like you, I am excited to learn more about her methods and experience. And so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Indira Couch to present, followed by the question and answer period. So Dr. Couch, whenever you're ready, you can get started, and thank you for being here.
Wow, Chris, thank you very much for that very auspicious introduction. I don't feel any pressure, of course, but I just want to say that actually a wise person actually once told me that it's very important how you invest your money, but it's much more important how you invest your time. So I want to thank the Chamber and the NOVA Committee for allowing me to share some of the secrets of my success, but that I've actually learned personally from the most successful people in the world, and that I've actually embedded as well in my personal life and my business life. But I also want to thank you, audience, for investing your time with me today. So if you would permit me, I will jump right in and let us get going. So thank you very much. Let me get my slideshow going, and here we go. All right, awesome. So just we set the scene a little bit for our context of our situation in our global situation as well as Trinidad and Tobago right now. Let's just get a quick summary of the current situation. Okay, so everything we have ever known has been turned completely upside down. We have constant disruption. We have all the rules are being rewritten. We have, things changing daily. We have children being homeschooled. We're having work from home. We have artificial intelligence. We have robots. We have low touch. We have no touch. We have virtual. We have digital. We have online. I mean, these are some of the things that we kind of saw pre-pandemic. We saw them. They were out there. We were paying some attention to them. But then all of a sudden, the pace changed. And these things happened much faster than they ever happened or that we've ever seen it in our existence. Okay. In fact, the other day I was listening to Bloomberg and I heard a reporter talk about Amazon's quarterly earnings and reporting on it. And what he actually said is that what was published was that this report, the earnings that they actually published, they had projected to earn in 2027. Okay, so it's really important. We know we're in a world, we're in a situation right now where the pace has changed, things are being rewritten, rules are changing, the game has changed. Okay, so the question many people are asking is, what is going to save us and who is going to save us? Okay, so today what I want to share with you, like I said, I want to share some of those tools, some of those techniques, some of those frameworks, some of those answers, because some of you are going to say, I want the answers. Sure, I'm going to give you some answers. Okay, you can tell me if I've given you the answers at the end as well. So I'd appreciate some feedback. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to make this fun, okay? Because I'm in the business of edutainment. And so I want us to have some fun and I want us to enjoy it. So sit back and let's relax and let's enjoy the session, all right? So let's take a look at some of the secrets of the world's most successful leaders. And by the way, some of these secrets I've actually introduced in my own personal life, and I've really seen fantastic results in how I've showed up. And, I know Chris and Mark would have mentioned about my status as being #1 coach. And so a lot of people are constantly asking me, I do a lot of webinars for my global community. What is it that led to you being #1? And I share those openly because I really would love everyone to understand that it's really very, very possible. If I can do it, anybody can do it, okay? But I want to start with a really important place. And this is what we call, in my world, the point of power. And what this really relates to is how we make decisions and how we take actions or how we make choices in our lives, okay? So as we go through life, we make some decisions about what we need to do next, okay? And we usually have a choice about the decisions we make or the decisions that we fail to make. So let's say something happens typically in our lives, our personal lives, our business lives, something goes wrong. There's, something, we lost a client, we lost business, something didn't work out the way we planned it, we missed a deadline. Then what do we tend to do? Well, the first place we tend to start is actually blame. We always have to we tend to pretty much 99% of the time we're blaming someone, or it's our natural response to blame. So what we're doing is we're pointing a finger. And when we're pointing that finger, we're actually pointing one finger towards that person, but we're actually pointing three fingers back. Oh, I can't even see my own fingers. So there we are, right. So we're actually pointing 3 fingers back at ourselves, okay? So again, something happens, something goes wrong. Who do we blame? We blame the government, we blame our parents, you blame your partner, you blame your team member, you blame, some situation. I'm not getting ahead because of X. I'm in a bad mood because of Y. Okay, so some blame or some pointing the finger at someone or something, okay? The other thing that tends to happen is we have a lot of excuses. I don't have enough time, my phone isn't charged, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too rainy, I can't exercise, the dog ate my homework, I couldn't get onto Teams, which is my son's latest excuse this morning for not getting on a computer. Lots of excuses about why we can't get things done, okay? So we love those excuses. And the other place that we end up being in some situations is in denial. So some of us are in that false sense of, yeah, it's okay. We don't need to change. Everything is fine. We just keep doing things the same way because we're fine doing it this way because we're in denial that everything is okay. Now, when we live in that space, what happens to us is all that we're doing is basically we're rendering ourselves powerless. It's a very disempowering place to be. We find lots of reasons why where we are is because of whatever happened, and we remain there. So we are here, and where we are, we just remain victims, like I said. Okay, so we find lots of reasons why we can't do something, who did something, and again, we stay in that very disempowering space. Now, if you want to get results in your life, you really need to take a shift in the way that you think about things and when things happen. Okay. So, what I want you to do today, as you open your mind to this learning, and I'd really like you to practice having a beginner's mindset because that's a very important time of our lives, that we really need to look at things as though we're seeing them for the first time. So, if you've heard something here before, I'd really like you to open your mind to, adopting the beginner's mindset. And so when something typically happens to us in our personal lives or business lives, I'd like us to take or to live in the space of having what we call ownership, accountability, and responsibility. So having that all, so getting ourselves out of the situation, okay? So ownership, accountability, and responsibility for all aspects of your life. Because, I tell my clients, when they come to me and we discussing, where they want to go, I actually have to have that hard conversation and say, hey, listen, you are responsible for your bank balance. You're responsible for your personal health. You're responsible for your relationships. You're responsible for your behavior. You're responsible for your decisions, your choices, your actions, and your results. Now, when you begin to adopt this way of thinking, or when you begin to take full responsibility for everything in your life, it puts you in a much more powerful position. And in this place, what we do is we end up being much more victorious. We are victors and we get our results, okay, that we want in our lives. So something goes wrong, hear this a lot, oh, I can't find people to work and all of this. Own the results. I hired that person. Again, I heard this from a client the other day. Oh, I can't delegate. I always have to manage everything. I have to micromanage. Well, you have to own the result if you didn't delegate properly. So let us teach you how to follow the steps of delegation and really do a good job of delegation and leveraging through your teams. Okay, so owning your results is really important. All right. Now, I want to also share this other little slide with you, another little diagram with you, because this is a really, really important one. What I want to say to you here is that you and you alone are responsible for what you do or you do not do and how you respond to what is happening to you. Okay, so you're the only one that has control over you, your behaviors, your decisions, your choices, your actions, and your results. Outside of that, you may be able to influence. So you may be able to influence your partners, your children, your team. You can influence that group of people. And then outside of that, there is everything else. Okay, so get really clear on where you're spending your time and energy and effort, because this is really important as we discuss, you really being able to optimize your results. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to share with you, so I'm going to share a lot of formulae with you, okay? Because that's how I love to be able to, Chris mentioned that I'm a balance of an academic and a practitioner and an entrepreneur. And that's really, what I love. I love being able to break things down into bite-sized pieces so that really you can understand them. And because a lot of stuff can be very lofty, in academia, okay? So I want to share with you the formula for getting lucky. Now, some people believe that others are just lucky. That, and oh, that person is just lucky, they're in the right place at the right time, and that's what happened to them. And yes, there are some cases of that. There are, but there are few and far between. But my personal belief is that that's just really another excuse. I recall reading some time ago about Richard Branson, who was asked a question, which was if luck actually played a part in his success. And he actually answered yes, of course. We're all lucky. luck surrounds us every single day. And he said, I have not been more lucky or unlucky. The difference is when luck came my way, I took advantage of it. Okay? So I want to share with you the formula for getting lucky. Oprah Winfrey actually also said in her discussion about luck, she says it's preparation that meets opportunity. But I want to add a couple of things to that as well. Okay? So let's think about what preparation is and your personal growth. So it means that you're consistently improving your skills, consistently improving your knowledge, your expertise, your relationships, and your resources so that you have the wherewithal to take advantage of a great opportunity when it arises. I remember a quote, and it really stuck in my mind about this golfer. His name is Arnold Palmer, a very famous golfer. And he said, funny thing, the more I practice, the luckier I get. Okay? So again, it's preparation. So what are you doing to really be a master in your field, right? The other area is attitude, and that is your belief and your mindset. And it's very simply a matter of how you look at something. Now, do you see a situation as a negative, a challenge, doom and gloom, or do you actually see a situation as an opportunity for you to learn and grow? Do you see the gift? Do you learn from it? Do you actually see that there is actually enough for everyone so that you want to work collaboratively with people? Or are you still seeing, there's a lack of this and a lack of that, and it's either all or nothing? So what is your view? What is your point of view? What is your belief? What is your mindset? Do you have a fixed mindset that, there's all of these problems in the world? Or do you actually see your growth mindset, which is, do you see the opportunity in a setback or a challenge? Okay. So your attitude and your belief, your and mindset is really important to think about. So again, get really clear about how you're thinking about how you view things. Okay. So what I would like to do, I would like to ask you to adjust your gaze. So I would like you to look for the positive. In fact, I was also listening to a Berkeley psychologist. His name is Rick Hanson, and he used a really great way to describe us as human beings. And he said, typically, us as human beings, we have a tendency to hold on to the negative, and he describes it as a Velcro effect. So with the Velcro, we're holding on to the negative, and what we do with the positive, it's like a Teflon effect because we tend to let those by. So I want you to get thinking about, are you looking for the positive in a situation, or are you looking for the Teflon, or are you looking for the Velcro? Okay. The other thing I want you to think about is an opportunity. Now, the opportunity is really a good thing that just come your way. Okay. Now, this is something that isn't planned for, or maybe it's something that you've been so focused on, because where your focus goes, your energy flows, as we know with the law of attraction, right? And so maybe something has come to you, maybe it's come faster or differently than you expected. So it's a natural occurrence and it shows up. Then, so you have this opportunity. What are we going to do about it? Well, this is where it's all about you. What are you going to do about it? Now, however this luck came to you, whether it was from the universe, whether it was from God, whether it was from the brown grasshopper, or the 25 cents you picked up on the floor, or the bird crapping on your car, it's all up to you now to act on it. It is your job to act on it. So this is what separates the Richard Branson from the Jeremy Smith. And you're probably saying, well, Jeremy who? Exactly. We never heard of him because he was the guy that failed to take action on all the lucky things that happened to him. So what I want to say to you today, and I'm probably going to hold the tension in the conversation as I do, but I want to say no more whining about the cards you were dealt. No more whining about the defeats you were suffered, because countless people have had more disadvantages and greater obstacles than you, and they are successful and fulfilled. So when it comes down to all of this, it really does come down to you. Okay? So luck, that's it. That's really what it is. Okay. So you're probably saying now, okay, well, indeed, that's all really good. I'm getting it. It's all about me. So let's take a look at how do we begin to get some shift? What is a tool that can help us to understand where do we need to start? Now, we're going to use the identity iceberg. So this is a model we use to explain this. And what we say, as we know about iceberg, is that about 85 to 90% of an iceberg is below the water. So above the water is between 10 to 15%. Now, the same is true of us. So what you see of me and how I'm showing up, my behaviors, my decisions, my choices, my actions, my results, all of these things are as a result of the things that I've had to work on below the iceberg. Because if you want to get some changes in your life, you can get some changes here. You can do some things and you'll change your behaviors on certain things, change your decisions and your choices on certain things, and you will get some results. But if you want long-lasting, more meaningful results and more sustainable change, you have to dig deep and you have to dig below the iceberg. So let me share with you, where do we start? We start with our environment. And there are three aspects of the environment. So the first one I want to talk to you about is your physical. So that's really about changing your view, changing your perspective, adjusting your gaze. So it may mean that you may have to, and this is the truth because some of my clients do this. They clear all the clutter. They clear out their physical, emotional, sometimes psychological clutter. Some people move. Some people reorganize. Some people even move repaint their offices, move around furniture. They get that physical change. They want to change the whole physical environment. Okay. Some people actually physically also think about themselves. Like, what do they need to do to get more sleep, to get, to nourish their body, to exercise? So they actually say, you know what, I need to take control of my physical well-being. Okay. So we start with your physical. So it's not just your physical state, but also your physical being. Some people even like redo their wardrobes and change out their wardrobes and change their look and change their hair. They want a different look. Okay. And I promise you, it's a really great first way to start. Okay. So all of you out there going out for new haircuts and wardrobes, don't blame it on me. Okay. All right. The other place we need to start is we need to think about, oh, sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit to myself there. So the other area we need to think about is our knowledge base. This is a really important one. So I want you to pay attention here because this is garbage in and garbage out. Now, if you want your mind to perform at its peak, you have to be extra vigilant about what you are feeding it. So Jim Rohn, who's one of my mentors, teaches us that you have to stand guard at the door of your mind. And for those of you who were listening to me, as we had the lockdown in March, I ran a webinar the first week, and that was the first thing that I asked all of you to pay attention to, was to stand guard at the door of your mind. What are you feeding your mind? Are you feeding your mind doom and gloom and drama and social media fake news that did not connect to the facts? Or are you sticking to the facts and really limiting the information that was coming around the pandemic? Okay. See, what happens is our mind is like an empty glass. So if you're feeding it dark, dismal, worrisome, drama, and gossip, then everything you see or everything that you create will be filtered through the muddiness of that. But just like a glass, you can actually flush your mind with positive, inspirational, innovation, or innovative ideas, stories of success, productivity hacks, ideas to create more abundance. I mean, you can then feel that if you did have scarcity in your brain, you can actually get rid of it. So all of that scarcity, worrisome, fearful feelings that you had, the ones that you're looking at others and thinking that you're missing out or you don't have as much as them, those are the things that you will begin to eliminate if you feed your mind those positive inspirations, if you feed your mind or coming from a place of gratitude, like what do I have instead of what I don't have, okay? So really important to think about that, that knowledge base. What are you feeding your mind? The other thing I want you to think about is the people, and that is your tribe. So right now here in the NOVA committee at the chamber, we have our tribe. And where do we spend our time? Because the people with whom we spend our time determines what conversations dominate our attention. Okay, so if we spend our time amongst people who do not, pay attention to what they're eating, talking about gossip and drama and people all the time, we will end up eating like them, dressing like them, and even treating people like they do. And that might not be, how we want to be. So it's really important for us to recognize that the influence of your tribe is very important. Your tribe has a tremendous amount of influence over you. Okay? And sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive. You can't hang out with negative people and expect to be positive. Okay? So get really clear on who are your 3-minute people, who are your 3-hour people, who are your 3-day people. Okay? Jim Rohn again has taught me to analyze this in 3 groups. And the 3 groups are this: it's your disassociated group, your limited association, and your expanded association. Now, the disassociated, this is where you may need to make a really hard choice. You may have to let go of some of the energy vampires who spend all of their time gossiping, judging others, talking about people. They are fearful and they have a scarcity mentality. Okay, you may just need to do that. Okay, and this is entirely up to you. Again, this is all about you. Or you may wish to put them in a limited association where you have to see them, but you limit your time with them. Or when you meet them, you change the subject and ask lots of questions to try to redirect the conversation. Okay, and I'll teach you lots of techniques. If you join our community, I can teach you all of those techniques. Okay, or you can have expanded associations. And these are the people, and this is just like here, your Nova Committee, your Chamber of Commerce, you have great networking, like-minded people that you would speak out and surround yourself by these people. And these are the people you want to reach out to because they have a very positive influence, or they have positive qualities in areas of your life that you want to actually improve. So that's why a lot of people come to our community and stay in our community. They want the community. They find an accountability partner. Okay, so think about who's your tribe, who are you surrounding yourself by. So the other important area to look at are these 4 areas here. And the first one is skills. So what skills do I need to develop that's really going to set me apart right now in this time? Is it technology? Is it marketing? I need to refresh because marketing is only 3 types of marketing. There's direct marketing, there's online marketing, there's social. Like, where do I need to really develop my marketing? Where do I need to master? How do I need to change the way I'm selling? Because maybe I was getting along okay with selling up to a certain point, but maybe I need to go and refresh my sales training. I need to look at a different way of doing my sales training. I need a more systematic approach. I need to change my sales behavior. So again, what do I need to develop now? The other thing I want you to think about is your values. Now, your value system is the backbone of who you are, okay? So we need to actually evaluate and reprioritize these values as the basis of our beliefs and our identity. So start, for example, to think about what are some of the values that I need to change. So say, for example, self-acceptance is really important to you. So because self-acceptance is important, you're very worried about, because you have a herd and you're following the herd and you don't want to stand out of the herd. Think about how that will serve you. Think about how some of the values that you used to carry around do not serve you, and what you need to dump, and what you need to adopt. Okay? Or you may just need to refine some of those values as well, or reprioritize them. All right? The other thing we need to think about is, what are the beliefs? What are the things we deem to be true about ourselves? What are some of those new beliefs we need to develop, and old beliefs that may need to be dumped or may need to be strengthened? Okay, so what are those limiting beliefs that are holding me back? So for example, people say a lot of the time, I have this all the time, countless times I can count clients who come to me and say, oh, I'm not good at sales. I'm not a good salesperson. And always this kind of belief that they're not good salespeople. All right, so you need to take a look at that, okay, and how that is not serving you and how that is acting against you. So really think about where you need to step out of your comfort zone. The other thing that's really, really important is your identity. And this comes down to what it is that you are saying to yourself when you are by yourself about yourself. So how do you describe yourself? How do you develop a new identity for this particular situation? And how do you continue to repeat this identity? Because your mindset will accept this as your new identity. So are you saying, I am a rock star? And for me, I'm saying I'm a rock star business coach because we are doing the best education, business education. We're taking it to a whole other level. We are awesome. We are delivering great results. What are you saying when you are by yourself to yourself about yourself? Okay. So again, what is a new identity that you need to think about for this situation? All right. So this is all great. I hope you're taking all of this in. Take pictures if you want. And again, I'm happy to answer questions at the end. So again, just to recap on the identity topics, that's really important. And this is something that I have personally found that has been really instrumental for me, because I was very academic and I used to do lots of things, but I did not understand the importance of the mindset piece. But if you change your thoughts, you can actually change your world. Okay, very, very important. Now, we've got started, we've made a few shifts, and we're still finding that there's some resistance to change. Okay, so I want to explain to you why we're getting this resistance to change. Okay, so this is what we call the formula for change.
Okay, hi guys. It seems like Indira is having a slight bit of problems with her connection, so we're just going to wait until she gets back up, and we should be back with you in a minute or so. So, while we're waiting for Indira to get back up, just wanted to thank everybody for attending today's session. As we said, it's been extremely well represented, and I know that I haven't been able to stop viewing myself. So I'm really hoping that Indira makes it back soon, because I was quite enjoying her presentation. And from what I'm seeing, it seems as though she just popped back up. So hopefully she'll be with us in right now. Welcome back, Indira.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. I have no excuse for this one because I need to find another internet provider for sure. All right, so let's jump back into the formula for change. Everyone can hear me? Everybody's good? Chris, you can hear me? Yes? Okay, great. So let's take a look at this formula for change. So the source of resistance, like we said, is fear or the avoidance of pain. And this, again, usually has the power of, so it has twice the power of inspiration or the promise of a perceived gain. Okay, and that's really important to understand, because when we capture it in that and understand that you can inspire, you can show someone a perceived gain, but the resistance to change because of that fear and that avoidance of pain has twice the power of that inspiration or the promise of perceived gain. Okay, so what I want to share with you is really importantly about the other things in the formula. So it's dissatisfaction times vision plus first steps. Okay, and what it really boils down to is that in some of us, in some situations for us, we may be very, very dissatisfied. Okay, and I know right now a lot of business owners out there are dissatisfied, but they may not have a vision, or they may not know what to do. So they're kind of lacking, or they need to think about what is the opportunity for them. And of course, a lot of this can shift if we change the way that we look at things. Okay, so what we do actually with business coach as a business coach is a lot of the time when we sit our clients, we help them to basically build that vision. But we don't just help them, we help them to develop the action plan. So the first steps that they need to take, because a lot of the time, again, people are very dissatisfied. If you have 10, which is dissatisfaction, and you have vision, which is 0, 10 times 0 is what? 0. So you need to have a vision. So you may be dissatisfied, but you need a vision, but then you also need the first steps, because it's all well and good to have this vision, but then you don't have the first steps. Like, how do I make this happen? What's the plan? Okay. So, and the action plan as well, not just a plan, an action plan. All right. So again, just to recap, we tend to put off doing some things, or some things that are important, because of that temporary pain, and because it's perceived to be too great. And so we have that resistance to change. What we want to do now is consider, how do we lower the resistance to change? Okay. So again, if we are dissatisfied, think about, I'm really unhappy, but maybe I don't have a vision, or maybe I don't have the first steps, or maybe I'm just not dissatisfied enough. Okay, so maybe I'm just okay, but maybe then I need to build the vision and have the first steps. Okay, and this is particularly useful in sales as well. So if you're going to try to sell something and the person is resisting the change, think about maybe they're not dissatisfied enough, or you have not helped the potential client or customer to understand the value that you would bring and the difference that you would make to their lives because of whatever product or service that you're offering them. And then, of course, taking them through the next first steps, making it easy for them to buy, and all the other steps that we need to close in order to convert that client and to close that sale. Okay. Now notice the dissatisfaction and the vision is a multiplier effect. Okay. And it's a multiplier because they're both, you have to consider that it's not just one plus the other. It really is important to understand that if you have 0 for one of those numbers, then it's obviously going to be 0. All right. Now, you could also have a 0 there, but you could also have a really great plan, by the way, because I have had some clients who may have not been dissatisfied enough, or may have been not dissatisfied, had a big vision and wanted to actually break out, and we help them to build out the first steps. All right. Now, your resistance to change can be lowered if people also like you and trust you. Okay, so in sales, for example, or you're in a business, you're putting in a new system. If your teams like you and trust you, and you're implementing a system, and you may not have been very clear in your communications plan, your vision, or even in your plan for your pilot or your first steps, they may say, you know what, we like you and trust you, so we know it's going to be fine. Okay, but if you are getting any resistance to change, think about what aspect of this formula do you need to actually work on. All right. Now, the other thing we need to think about, and this is one of the most important areas, and it's really the formula for life success. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this because this is something that a lot of the time I think that people don't often get. And so this is an important one. Okay. So you're saying, okay, this is all great. I have my goal. So what do I need to do? Now, this is a really great start. All right. Important to know what do you need to do. But the most important question we need to be asking ourselves is actually, who do we need to become? Now, again, I'll refer to Jim Rohn, because what Jim Rohn has taught me and taught us around the world, for those of us who follow Jim Rohn, he has taught us that if you want to have more, you have to actually become more. Okay, so if you want to have more, you have to become more. If life has to get better, you actually have to get better. Okay, never wish your life was easy, always wish that you were better. Now, success is not something that you pursue, because what happens when you pursue success? You chase success like you chase butterflies. All right? Success is actually something you attract by the person you become. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Success is actually something you attract by the person you become. And when I understood this, it actually changed my entire life. Because there I was thinking that all I really needed to do was work hard. And that was not the case. So ask yourself, what kind of leader do I need to become to run the size of business that I want? What kind of leader do I need to become to attract top clients and top talent to my organization? Okay? How do I change my mindset from one of scarcity to abundance? In other words, yes, there is enough for everyone. How do I work collaboratively with people, with partners? Because for the now and for the new now and for Trinidad and Tobago, for sure, we most definitely have to change the way that we think about things. Okay. Now, again, notice that the be times the do is a multiplier effect. So it's really important to put in equal amount of efforts in the being and the doing to achieve the having. Okay? So what I want you to do today is going to be a big day for you to really think about, to get clarity on who do you need to become, and work on what you need to be doing or not doing. Okay? This is really important. So the be times the do equals the have. All right? So this is what we do at Action Edge. So we are actually, like I said, a bunch of business professionals, and we are business coaches and we're executive coaches. And we basically do four things. We help you to get clarity around your personal goals and your business goals, because it is clarity plus action that gives you results in your life. When you get that clarity on where you want to go and where you are, then we work with you on how you want to get there. So we get clarity, we help you to get clarity around your personal goals and your business goals. The other thing we do as a coach, now we're not just tweaking you for performance, because a lot of coaches work with individuals to help them to tweak their performance. And so they're working with executive coaches so they know what great looks like. However, sometimes I'm working with clients and I recognize that I need to train them. I need to transfer my skills to them. They need to learn something, whether it's they need to learn sales, they need to learn how to manage teams, they need to understand the 6 keys to a winning team. They need to understand things at a deeper level. So we're actually able to train. We're actually able to expose you to new ideas, what great looks like, what the rest of the world is doing, because we're part of a global community. Okay? We then help you to develop an action plan. Because of course, none of this can work if we do not have an action plan. And the last thing, but by no means the least, that we do is that we help you to keep you focused and accountable. So this journey is a journey for persons who have goals, who want to grow, and recognize that they do not want to take the journey alone. Okay? So they need support, they need their tribe, they need a community, they need a chamber, they need individuals to keep them accountable, they need accountability coaches, etc. So what typically happens is that we think that, we need to do all these things. And, when we do all these things, a lot of business owners, when they come to me for the first time, they are so overwhelmed because they think, oh my God, I have to do all of these things. And they even give up because they're like, no, there's too many things to do. But what I want to share with you, and this is something that Warren Buffett has actually taught me, this is actually not the case. It's not the thousands of things that you need to do or need to become. It actually boils down to about half a dozen basics. When you focus and master this operating system, they can actually take you to any goal that you desire. Okay, because Warren Buffett teaches us you do not have to do exceptional things to get exceptional results. Take a few things and do them really, really well. Okay, so depending on the speed of results that you want as a business owner, if you want to get those results really quickly, also depending on the budget that you have, we have a range of group coaching, one-on-one coaching, really bite-sized programs that can fit any budget. And we do business coaching, executive coaching, culture, leadership, team activation and engagement programs for teams and for larger organizations. And we have a number of different global programs, whether it's an SME, whether it's a mid-sized company, whether you're an executive, you're a person in a job, in a career, and you want to grow your leadership because you recognize today, who do I need to become? Because I want that job that I'm going after. So how do I need to show up? And you're going to take responsibility for it. Then that's what we do here at Action Edge. And we call ourselves Action Edge because we see ourselves as very cutting edge. And we are, we want to be seen as the exception, and we deliver excellence. Okay. So what we've done is that, again, like I said, we break things down into bite-sized pieces. We have a lot of systems, we have processes and methodologies and techniques that, by the way, they've been tried and tested, and they have been working for over 25 years. So it's not just stuff I've been doing now. This is stuff that works around the world. So, earning success is hard. And this is not a journey for every and anyone, because if success was easy, everyone would be doing it. And that's from our CEO, actually, Brad Sugars. When he said that, I was like, you're absolutely right. If success was easy, everyone would be doing it. The process is tedious. It's laborious. It's even boring. Okay? But, 5% of it can be really freaking awesome, but 95% can be very, very tedious. Okay? But becoming wealthy and influential and world-class is a very slow and arduous process. So if you have an aversion to work, you have an aversion to discipline, you have an aversion to commitment, you have an aversion to delayed gratification, then this is not for you. This is not going to happen overnight. Okay? So, and again, another thing I like to share with you is a lot of people come to me and they say, oh, well, all I need is information. I just need to go and do a course and, I'll be fine. I'll do that online course and I'll be great. And yes, I'm sure people get they get results, but those results are limited results. But what I want to tell you is that if information was all that we needed, then anyone with an internet connection would have rock star bodies and live in mansions. Okay, we would all have like rock arms of steel if all we needed was information. So it's not the information that you need alone, because we know that that's not enough. What we need is a plan of action that has systems and methodologies and tools to support you actually making that happen, and for you to recognize that it is who you need to become, and working with you on who you need to become times what you do will give you what you have. Okay? And so just to wrap up, if you want to get in touch with us, this is how you can get in touch with us. We have our website at actionedgett.com, our email address administrator@actioncoach.com, a telephone number there as well. So you can, it's actually a WhatsApp designated number. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn. We post a lot, so please join us, join our community. We're part of the Nova community as well. So yeah, really happy to be able to share with you my top tips. And at that point, Chris, I will hand over to you and see. I hope you have lots of really great, challenging questions for me.
Oh, well, thank you, India. To be honest, I'm kind of sad that you stopped already. I was enjoying it, and I feel like I could listen to you for at least another 15 minutes, half an hour. So sounds like I'll have to be taking notes here on how to get in touch and sign up for one of those classes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I mean, the floor is open now to questions if anybody should have. I know I have a couple just haven't listened to the presentation. So, if I could maybe start off with one for you, Indira, I think one of the first things you said that resonated with me was that it was more important how you invest your time than your money. And to be fair, before I kind of moderated or agreed to this, I did a little bit of homework on you, if you will. And, I know that you have a team, right, who helps to manage your time. So, the question I would have is for some of the smaller SMEs who, may not have a team and who may spend a lot of time on a daily basis, fighting fires that come up every single day, how would you like direct them to start thinking about how they should be managing their own time? Like, what direction do they look
That's
to?
a really great question. So when I started business in Jamaica, so I knew I had been manufacturing in Jamaica, and I remember we always do this as entrepreneurs. We start off doing everything, yeah. And what happened to me is that I was burnt out, and what I needed to really focus on, which we don't focus on as business owners, was the marketing and the sales. I was so busy working in the business, I wasn't working on the business. And when I had that light bulb moment, when I read the book, The Millionaire Mindset, The Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, I found it, and I was telling the story the other day, found it in a pharmacy, and it really changed how I looked at things and my beliefs and my mindset and everything. I realized that I had to focus on my high value activities, like what it is that I need to be doing to grow the business. Okay. And when I began to assess my time, I was spending the value of my time, like say my time was at $200 an hour. I was spending my time on $10 hour functions. And what I did was I very quickly changed that, and I said, absolutely not. If I want to get results and I want to get those results fast, I need to find somebody I can give that $10 business, $10 an hour business to. We're very fortunate now in our society, the way things have evolved. We have a lot of virtual admin folks, people, you can do outsource to, lots of different platforms. You can outsource work that you have to get really clear on where you are spending your time, your energy and effort. And a lot of people will hear me say on this platform that I actually, and I say it a lot, I do not do social media. I have a team that runs my social media for me. I do the content for it, but I don't, because it's really important for me to be insanely productive. And the only way I can be insanely productive is to focus on my high value activities, because I'm thinking, assimilating, synthesizing the data. I mean, it's what I do best. I have a rockstar team. They are amazing because they focus on their high value activities, and I leverage through my team as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I agree with you 100%, and it's pretty much the same way I do it, where, I try to quantify every minute of my day, and, what is the return on this minute that I have, I think early on, it was easy to fall into the trap of, oh, well, if it is, I spend this hour doing it, I'll save, like you say, I'll save that $10, I'll save that $15. And really what it does, it takes you away from having your focus on the areas where it is, you can maximize somewhere else. So even if it is, you have to pay for that service in the short term, by taking that hour to dedicate towards, well, how do I find a way to generate value, even if it is, I don't have that paycheck coming in right now, it saves you so much better in the future that the returns are, way beyond what it is you would have initially invested into it. So
absolutely. And what are the most important things we should be focusing on? Time with your family, time with your children, time in your business. I mean, what are the things that are most important to you? So yeah. Again, you have to get really clear on what those are. So an hour of my time that I give up doing something that I could have delegated, I could have found a system. It doesn't need to be a person. It could be a technology solution. There's so many apps nowadays, Chris. You think about it, like Calendly and this to do calendaring, and it synchronizes with your Google Calendar. I mean, there's so many things you can use nowadays that can really, a system, technology, really testing and measuring. So those are the things that we would teach you, like testing. What is your marketing spend? Is that really working for you? What is the call to action? You spend that amount of money, test it. Did it really work for you? So the kinds of things, which is what we call in my language and action coach, the 4 ways to leverage So we work with the business owners to help them to understand the different ways that they can leverage. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a person per se, you know?
Right. Yeah, perfect. Okay, just before I ask another question, I just had one quick request, which was if it is, you could maybe stop sharing the screen because
Sure.
everybody would love to see our beautiful faces a bit more clearly, apparently. So
Okay.
awesome. So I do have another question. I guess this one is from the floor. So in terms of your tribe, and it's similar to relationship building. And in Trinidad, this isn't a skill that we necessarily appreciate maybe as much as we should. So the question is, how would you suggest that we build this tribe, especially if you're in a small business that is struggling?
Okay. Well, always a place to look to start your tribe is to look for where you actually. So what I mentioned is where is the place? So like the Nova Committee, the chamber, that you find people of like-minded or people who you can reach out to help you, who can mentor you, who can support you, who can teach you things. You want to give, again, to your point about where you spend your time and energy and effort, like which are the associations that you should be a part of that will give you the best kind of return on the investment of your time. So, and who are the people you're surrounding yourself by? So, who is your tribe? Your tribe could be in associations. For us, it's associations, it's our global community, it's individuals. So, there are people in my personal sphere that I reach out to because I get a lot of really great conversations, ideation, collaboration, and that's what really is my passion. I'm very committed to Team TT, Team Trinidad and Tobago. I don't see myself as, just, action coach. There's enough for everyone. We do a role, we work with the chamber, we work with the Nova Committee, we work with the Manufacturers Association, so again, where do you find your tribe? So it's really very personalized around what it is that you need for your business at the time. I mean, again, if you'd like to reach out to us, we're very happy to bring you in as part of our community. We do a lot of free webinars, a lot of material we're constantly developing and sharing. So right. Please feel free to reach out if you'd like to be part of our tribe as well.
Awesome. I mean, if I can even add to that one as well, I have found to just reaching out to different social networks that may not instantaneously seem as though they're work related. I have a chat that's with all my high school friends, and the kind of insight that they bring is very different to what I would normally be accustomed to. And it opens up different, spectrums for me that I can look at and even create opportunities. So I agree with you that, definitely go into the professional networks, but don't undervalue the social networks.
Yeah.
Or, those
definitely.
are the as well.
Definitely.
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, I had another question for you actually, which is, someone else that jumped out at me, which was about the success being something, that you attract by becoming the person you become. So, for somebody who is like myself, I wouldn't say that I'm the most, what would my wife say, the emotionally intelligent person in the world. How do you figure out, who that person is that you should become? Is it that you should set your sights on becoming somebody and then achieve that goal, or does it happen more naturally? Or, what's your feedback on becoming that person that is going to attract the things that you want?
Okay, so that's a really good question. So what it is that I actually am a very strong believer in focusing on your strengths. So I'm not going to say to you, Chris, hey, you need to become, like completely different to be like schizophrenic or something. Okay, so I would say, okay, what can we build on? What are you really good at? Okay, who do you need to become? But if you want to attract great talent, like if you want people to come to you, you may have to say, you know what, I need to write some more articles. I may need to step out of my comfort zone and do some blogs, do some videos. I remember my team actually pushed me to do this. And I love my team for that because they challenged me and I challenged them to push me to be my best. And they said, no, we're booking you for videos. You're going in front of the videos. You're going to do the videos. And I built out the content and they made me do it because I was always concerned about my funky hair, or that my eye looked a bit pokey eye, or had, all kind of drama, all kind of head trash I had in my head about doing the videos. And then I just did it. And I did it and it was great. And, I looked at myself and I went, oh, it's okay. It's not too bad. Of course, I found some faults, of course, but the point is I had to really get out of my own way because I had to be showing my community that I am an expert. that I am doing the reading, that I am connected to this, and I know I am confident in my ability because I have access to the tools. So I was sharing those willingly and giving to the, to the community. And I also had to do that thing where, and for you as well, if I were working with you as, let's say you're my client, I would say, okay, so let's focus on your strengths, but let's look at some areas that you need to improve. And then we would work on a roadmap. So it's a very actionable thing to do. What's a roadmap we need to do to help you to close those gaps so that you can show up for your team? Because maybe your team may have given you some feedback, or maybe you've gotten some feedback that says that you don't hold attention in the conversation, you don't communicate clearly. These are the areas you need to work on. Yeah. So
if I could follow up on it, I mean, what would you say with regards to, the differences between, say, what you've been trained in, or what you may think that you're good in, or what you're passionate in? I mean, is there one guiding light that you would say this one is the most important to go after in becoming that person who's going to become that success?
Right. So, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because just yesterday I did a little bit of a session with my team about their passion, and a couple of questions came up. It's not just about what you do and why you do it and how you do it, but who you're actually doing it for. Okay, so when I got clarity for me personally, then who I was actually doing this for, that I was doing this, okay, yes, I want my family to have a better quality of life. That's important, yeah? But when I see that I can actually transform lives and I can actually improve the quality of people's lives by my contribution to them, by helping them to have businesses that can employ people and serve the community, that is where I just take off like a rocket. I mean, I actually get really, really passionate about transformation and about people transformation, because it is a really important part of what I do. And I've actually worked with teams, and again, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm ranked the #1 coach, because I really have mastered my ability in that area. I read voraciously, I learn, I'm always on webinars. People call me like or if they ever see a WhatsApp from me 3:30, it's because I'm looking at a webinar in Australia, because that's where all this stuff is happening. So, it's really around how you master your material, how you want to show up, and who you really want to become. It's a tedious, arduous job, Chris. It's not an easy one. It's not going to happen overnight. And as you know, you and I discussed this when we were doing our theses. It's an exercise in persistence. You're just doing, you have to get it done. And you know that this is where the daily grind, you keep doing it, but eventually you will get the result. And then what happens is, as you begin to get that success, which is what has happened to me, so now I'm ranked #1 for the year. Of course, a lot of organizations are looking at me, asking me to do stuff for them, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, the US, globally, Indonesia, and other places. So again, that's what happens, and you begin to attract success by the person you have become.
Right. I mean, just as a follow-up to that, because I've seen a related question from the floor, is there like a process or a technique that you could suggest would help a person self-reflect on the kind of leader that they'd want to become?
The technical process, of course, is that really and truly one of the most important criteria, the reason why what successful people actually say is that the most important thing for them is self-awareness. Okay, so that's the first place to start, because if you are aware of how you are showing up, that's really important. Now, typically when somebody comes to coach with me, I always do an independent assessment, whether it's a DISC, an emotional intelligence assessment. They are doing the assessment, not me. And then I use that, because first question I ask them is, do you think that this is a true reflection of you? And the majority of times people actually know. They look at it and they go, or some people actually look at it and go and said, people used to say that about me, but I thought they were lying. But that's what they were saying about themselves. So I use that as like an independent way to start, because it's important to understand how you are showing up on your self-awareness. And some people actually say, oh, no, that's not me. That's usually a flag. It usually means they really are not seeing how they're showing up, okay? and they're in denial. They don't want to accept that that's who they are. All right, because they see themselves differently. So self-awareness is really important to first of all get people to kind of take a look at how they're really showing up and then say, okay, because of course it's the first step. Okay, this is what you're showing up. Let's get some other information from other people to, because it's like again doing a thesis now, because what you're doing is corroborating the data, and then you're building out a roadmap for this person to say, okay, how do I need to now, change these things? Because as we know, the only way to change behaviors is repetition and reprogramming.
Right. No, that's good. That's a good point, because I have another question that is pretty similar, which is things are difficult for a lot of people right now, and they may be self-aware that they're not putting out an abundance mindset. But how do you get to that mindset when things seem as though they're crumbling around you, when things are really hard? How do you position yourself as, okay, well, it's abundance, even though I'm struggling?
Right. So one of the first things that happened for us, and this happened to everyone, we were all that leveled the playing field. The pandemic, the lockdown had leveled the playing field. And so what we had to do is very quickly say, okay, what is the opportunity for us to do? What did we need to do right now and take full responsibility for? So, okay, yes, we thought we had certain things in place, certain things were working out for us, but we began to look at the opportunity for us to just change the way and break the model and change the way that we were doing things. Because typically before, I would not do online coaching. I would not do online webinars. I was like, no, I'll have to come to you and drive an hour and a half and sit in traffic and all the usual things about, we're having to do this. But then we couldn't. So it really forced us to change. So suddenly I had to become Zoom expert, Teams expert, whiteboard expert, get my proper speaker, change out my whole ecosystem. I had to level up, right? Because I could either sit and say, well, so and so and so, or I could either say, you know what do I need to do to change? What do I need to take full responsibility for? But the abundance mindset, there are a number of techniques around the abundance mindset. And the abundance mindset, in summary, is really about how you see a setback or a challenge. I mentioned a lot of the techniques there, feeding your mind. Your mind is like a glass. So if you're feeding it failing and doom and gloom, that's all you're going to see. Now, a lot of that has probably been our conditioning. I mean, I know older people, my dad, for example, I can't change the way that he thinks because his grooves in his brain are so deep that I could talk about it, but he probably thinks I'm really just too fluffy and that's not making any sense, right? And that's fine. But you can change it. You can remove those grooves. So those of you who are scientists on this call would know that the brain is neuroplastic and we can change, but it's repetition and reprogramming. So what are we feeding our minds? Who are we surrounding ourselves by? What is our physical environment? What skills do we need? What values do we have? What beliefs? What identity? What are the things which of those areas of the identity iceberg that we need to look at?
Right. Okay, and well, to follow up on that one as well, because I have another great related question from the floor, which is, suppose sometimes you're in organizations where you may not be the top of the organizational chart. So you may have had the intelligence or the awareness to recognize, okay, we need to change the mentality in the organization. But you may have somebody who's, the boss who may say, or isn't recognizing that for themselves. So, how do you, and you spoke a little bit about it with your dad, maybe he's too far removed, but is there a way that you can, influence the people who may be above you, that they could benefit from coaching or they could benefit from upskilling as well?
Yeah, it's really about how you can influence them. So it really depends. Like in the case of my dad, there are certain people who influence him more than me. So I would, have conversations with them about how they could influence him. You understand? So it's really about us getting really smart. If we want that, it's about us figuring out what is the agenda here. Is this agenda about me looking good? Or is this agenda about, the team and the company looking good? Because I don't really care who tells my boss. I know we need to change the way we're doing things, because if we keep doing it the same way, we're going to get the same results. And for change to happen for you, it has to happen with you, as you've heard me say today. So, and it does start with leadership.
Right.
It does start with leadership. Leadership influences engagement in teams over 70% is what the research is showing. And so transformation starts with people, but it starts with the leaders.
Great, great. I mean, it's okay, building on that too, we have a question as, can you share maybe an experience that you have had, with a client maybe who's had a particular challenge and, was able to overcome it with the help that you've been able to give them?
Absolutely. There's so many. In
What's your
terms
favorite
of,
one?
usually we get lots of really great results. I mean, again, it's around the formula for success. Who do they need to be and what do they need to do? So the assessment usually is when we do the diagnostic is what do they need to do? And some of the time, there may be already some clients who are reading a lot, recognizing that, who the leader they need to become to attract top talent or to run a business the size that they want, etc. So they already start to do some work on that, or we work with them on that. And then the doing part, so really doing assessments around just themselves, what are the areas that they need to learn, the skills they need to learn, some of the beliefs that they have that they need to change. So again, always coming back to the identity iceberg, because even the thing about self-acceptance, and this is a really interesting one with sales. I'm hearing a lot of people, you'll talk to them and say, oh yeah, I'm really good with sales. And when you ask them about their conversion rate, they don't have a clue what their conversion rate was. And like, yeah, I'm really good in sales. I can sell, but now they're struggling. And now they need to retool and they need to relook at the sales, because how they were looking at sales in the past was really just taking orders.
Right.
Now they have to change the way they're thinking about sales. Sales, you're actually a problem solver. You're not an order taker, you're not a product pusher, you're not an over-promiser. You're a problem solver. So you need to change the way you think about it, because you again will go in and just try to take orders and push a product when you're not listening. So you have to change some of those things. And what we've tended to do, we've tended to go in and just push. And we're not listening to people and really spending the time talking to them and understanding their compelling need, and then really being able to give a credible solution that is matched by a perceived value.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah, certainly. I have a comment and a question from Keon, who said he really enjoyed the webinar. I'm sure most of us did, so thank you.
Great.
But he was kind of curious to know, is there a difference in approach that you may have depending on the various industries or sectors? So he asked specifically about insurance, but does it change for somebody who's in finance or like sales that you were mentioning, or are the principles the same?
Principles the same. Richard Branson told me this and taught us this. He said, it's the basic business principles that apply. You can apply these to any business. It's always the same things, which is why I said in the presentation, people come to me and they're really overwhelmed. They don't know where to start, but it's actually about half a dozen principles, half a dozen things that they need to keep doing. And it's really about doing those really, really well.
Right. Understood. Okay, I have one more, which is, one of the participants mentioned how the luck slide really resonated with them. And so they are asking, from an entrepreneur's point of view, a lot of opportunities seem very appealing. Yeah. So how do we filter out the good opportunities from the bad opportunities so that we don't overextend ourselves and end up putting a lot of time maybe into efforts that don't actually pay any dividends in the end?
That's a really great question. And that boils down to when you work out your selection criteria, because again, that's what we do a lot with our clients. We help them to come up with a selection criteria to understand what are the values or what are the things that are most important to them, what kind of resources it would take. And really when we build out that formula with them, they're able to say, okay, this is an opportunity I'd like to go after, because this is what it's likely to take in terms of, so you don't have to have resources, right? You have to be resourceful. All right. So, because a lot of the time people think I need to have the money, but there's many ways of, sorry to say this, skinning the cat, which I need to find another way of saying that. But there's so many things that we can do together, collaborate with people, again, doing it properly. A lot of people say, oh, I'm never going into business with somebody again because so and so happened. Well, if we live above the line, we didn't do it properly. We didn't set out and manage expectations. We need to own our results. And this blame game, and I'm a victim, and I'm never doing that again. Let's just take a little bit of reflection and say, hey, you know what? I really should have ironed that out properly. I really should have had this done properly in a contract with some NDAs or whatever. I mean, I hear that a lot. So again, you know, it's really around and a lot of things, the type of risk the person wants to take. It's a whole host of things, and I work with them depending on what their selection criteria. Because we work with you have criteria, and you work within that criteria. And if it fits into that criteria, okay, we'll take that box.
Perfect. So, I mean, we are coming close to the end. So if anybody does have any more questions, you know, please shoot them out. But I have one for you, Indira, which is, you know, we're talking about how we manage in our time. So this is the question I have for you. Do you work 8 hours a day? Do you work more than 8 hours? Is 8 hours an acceptable amount of time to work? And, you know, what's your thoughts on, you know, how you spend your hours in a day? You know, what's your time spent doing on a daily basis?
Every single part of my day, my working day, is on a high value activity. So it's either developing content, doing a webinar like this, so sharing what I know and coming up with the content, meeting clients, coaching clients, because that's my highest value activity. I don't do anything else. I know that sounds, but I don't do scheduling. I don't do, I do none of it, because I focus on every single hour of the day. And this is a little tip for you. Whatever you do must pay your salary. Whatever activities that you're doing must pay your salary. Okay, and every single hour of my day, if I know the value of my time is $200 an hour, 500, whatever, I am not washing my car. Okay, I am not going to the supermarket because I hate it. I'm sorry, I'm not cleaning my house either, because, you know, that's just not my highest value activity. I don't do it really well. But I do spend time with my family, and I make the time because that is priceless. You understand? So it's what are the things that are important to me? You know, my family, me, you know, I have a thirsty brain, so I love to learn. So how am I getting myself better? How am I learning? And then being a better citizen and a better, you know, coach and a leader of my community. So really everything that I do, I try to fit into that bucket.
I mean, okay, but let me push on you a little bit. Let's suppose somebody's watching this and they're like, you know, I don't feel like I have any high valued activities lined up for today. Or even if it is, you felt as though tomorrow you had 2 hours in the morning and that was the last high value. Are you comfortable saying, well, I'll spend the afternoon not doing high value activities?
Yeah, you have to have downtime. Meaning, I mean, you can't, I mean, I have to say, I do have to kind of sit on my hands when I go away, because I do like to be doing something, or, you know, I have to kind of sit and like enjoy the view. It's, you know, I tend to want to do things, and, you know, my kids go, oh my God, Mom, do we have to go on like a 65-mile hike already? We just landed, you know. Or, you know, I'm joking, it's not 65, it's just 5. But the point is, you know, I do have to sit on my hands. It is because I do like to be, you know, doing things that are, I think, high value, whether it's my time with my family, having fun. I do like to have fun. I love to play games with them, come up with new things. You know, so it really, again, is for me, what is my highest value activity? As it pertains to work, my highest value activity is really around being in front of my clients, being in front of my customers, developing material. So another high value activity for me is working on the business.
Right.
So it's really, really important building my capacity to be better. So I actually carve out learning and development time every single week. I have hours of time that I'm always learning. Because even if, you know, and I started off by speaking about the beginner's mindset. The beginner's mindset basically is one of the aspects of abundance mindset. And what it says is really looking at things like you have never seen them before. So I go over material over and over and over, because when I go over it, I hear things that I didn't hear before. I don't know if it happens to all of you, but I just keep going over them over and over. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't hear that time. I never heard this time. And, you know, so and I have a couple of books that I keep on my Bibles. Darren Hardy is one of my major mentors.
Actually, so that's before you answer that one. Actually, I do have a question asking about your top 3 books. So you can't just give me one. So give me 3 books.
Oh, so Millionaire Mindset. So that got me started. I love The Five Dysfunctions of the Team, Patrick Lencioni. I listen to that and read that a lot over and over. And Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect.
Right.
Those are really, really, they have made a huge, huge difference to my life.
Right. And I mean, just to go back to what you were saying, just before, I find there's a lot of value for me personally in doing things that I may not place an immediate high value on. I may not think that, okay, it's going to pay a dividend. But for example, I love to watch astrophysics videos. I mean, it's totally outside of my field. And it's almost like that feeling I get of when I'm taking a shower, where ideas that I just randomly come to me because, I'm not focused so hard on them that I'm looking extra hard. It's more of an
Yeah,
organic process. So I
yeah,
appreciate you just
that's
saying that.
important. That's really important. I mean, you have to have downtime. And when I started to do insane productivity, I actually did a course in insanely productive. I had to have, after my sprint time, I had to have recovery time. So I had to do things. And so what I started to do was actually, Darren Hardy taught me this, I started to watch sunsets. So everywhere that I was in the world, I'd be looking at a sunset. And that would be like the 25 minutes I would wait and watch the sunset and take pictures of them. And my kids go, "Oh my God, Mom, another sunset picture. Like we saw that yesterday." And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's different. But the point is that it's important to have that recovery time. You do your sprint, you work hard, but you also have the recovery time. It's
Right.
really important for our mind health.
Right. And let me ask you, maybe I'll squeeze one more in there, because we've talked a lot about getting to that point where it is we can attract the success that we want. But is there a definition of success that you may have? Does it look different for everybody?
It actually does. It looks very different for different people. Some people, I have clients who really say, well, what I want to do is I want to have X amount of money because I want to have X lifestyle. And this is what I want to be able to do. And that's fine. That's a first good start because you're working towards a financial goal. But there's some, clients of mine who say, well, I want to leave a legacy and I want to be able to really impact people's lives. I want to impact children or parents, or I want to, set up a home for, disadvantaged, or I want to create a course, I want to write a book, or, the different things that success means to different people, and some of it is financial freedom and some of it is not. But I do work with individuals, like I said, to get them clarity around their personal goals and their business goals.
Right. Well, I wanna thank you because after hearing you, I feel inspired to do some high value activities after lunch today. I have to get to that 200 US hour rate at the minimum, and I'm really thankful that I could be part of this and that you would volunteer your time to come and talk to everybody because as I mentioned before, in these times, these kind of sessions are truly valuable. More than before, and I think, as I said, it really resonated to us that what we'd have normally expected to be the attendance was far surpassed, and in very, very quick time. So, hope is that you will join us once again.
Oh,
And then maybe you
absolutely.
can share some stories of the success that you've had with the persons who are watching this.
Absolutely. I remain available to support the NOVA committee in any future ventures, anything that we can do because we're leading our communities through this. And we are heroes. I mean, I just want to share this with you just at the end. Heroes are really ordinary people who, when put into extraordinary situations, step up and take action. And I think that as leaders of our community, we have to be the beacons of light, that we're leading, our communities through this. And we see the light. It's just that it's about 4 miles away or maybe more, and it's behind a door, right? But we will get through this. And so really important for us as leaders to support our communities to get through this, because it will be something that Trinidad and Tobago has not ever faced. Many countries around the world. I lived in Jamaica for 21 years, and my team, they tell me a situation about something, about no water, whatever, and I go, "Oh, okay." And they're like, "What?" And they're like alarmed, and I go, "Yeah, but that happened in Jamaica all the time." Not that I doesn't mean it doesn't it affect me. It does affect me, but I don't let it consume me. It doesn't become debilitating for me, that it depletes my energy. I recognize that I have to park it because it's not helping me. So what do I have control over? What I have control over is how I react, how I behave in that situation,
Right.
you know. And Jamaica taught me a lot of resilience. Now, it didn't. Nobody is prepared for pandemic. Nobody ever. But certainly in our history in Trinidad and Tobago, it's a time when we're really, the tide is out, and we will be seeing, as Warren Buffett said, who's swimming with their pants down. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here for us to kind of just look at it, how we've been doing things, and then using the opportunity to change and really level up and be ready for when it really takes off, because we're going to be there. We're going to be right there just with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw out, as you remind me of Warren, one of my favorite quotes from him is, be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy. And I feel as though there's a lot of fear right now. So to me, that speaks to a lot of opportunity. So I think, what you shared today is very timely. So again, on behalf of the Nova Committee and the wider chamber and all the participants, thank you so much, Indira. And, we do hope you have a great day and you stay safe.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Yes, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.